Good morning. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding in ads for using the in-app. Pardon me. We're going to be using Google Play services. Google has a service called Admob, and we're going to be adding level ads in between levels. And then also we are going to probably be adding reward ads. I have purchasable items that I need to add in here to the web API as well as on the front side. And then we're going to wire up the in-app purchase panel. This is on no turning back. This is on there is no turning back. And this is being released on Android ideally in just a couple of days. Right now it's already out on Steam. So let's go in here. We're going to start on 435. So the first thing I need to do is look over at my board. And this is all my last stuff that I just did in my Google branch. So I'm going to go ahead and say remove modifications to Google SDK and modified calls for Google Manager. Okay, and we'll commit that and push that out. Okay, the next thing that I need to do is switch branch. Hey there, Eric Pond. How are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. So this is inside of my Google branch, right? And my Google branch got pulled from test. So we're actually working in the development branch now. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a branch here for my ticket, which is no turning back 435. And we'll create the branch. Okay, we're good to go now. So I can close up my Jira. And then we can minimize that. Hey, Assisted Anarchy, welcome back. It's good to still have you with us. All right. Glad you guys are kicking it. Okay, let's, so now what I want to do is we are adding the ads in between the levels. So if I look at my Google Manager script, I should have it's ads in between the levels, so that would be done in the Google side. So let me switch back here. What is it? Yo, Liverdev, trying. What's your thoughts on schools for game design? Just curious. I'm currently at full sail. What does full sail mean? I'm a big advocate of higher education. I think it's important to get a degree, and whenever you get the degree in, I think it will give you a better start, and it also shows that you're capable of learning and doing something. A lot of times with developers, they're self-driven, so if you wanted to do more work with games, then in your spare time you may find yourself doing that as well. Going to school for something like that is not a bad idea, and it will get you a foot into the game industry. But it's just, again, up to you and how you apply yourself and what you get out of it. So, okay, jump back in here. We'll reload the scene, reload it here. Oh, Full Sail University. I've never heard of that. I've been deving on and off. I just never finished a project. Yeah, that's also common. You got to finish your projects, though, so that you have your portfolio. All right, now we're good to go. So if I look here at my Google Manager script, I should have some function in here I have already written called load interstitial ad. here. And when this happens, I need it to pause my timer. So what I want to do is look at my game manager, which is under scenes, game scene managers, game manager. And we're going to look in here for my on player map event here. So if my player's not dead, then we do the door incentive, we do the score incentive, we play our door sound, we remove them from the map, we get our door location for the next map, we set our grid objects inactive, we go to the next map, we apply the mesh, and we set all of our objects active again. We calculate our next player position, and then we set our player. Looks like I'm adding them to the map here as well. And then I'm getting my interactable objects. And, okay, so in my map event, let me think about how I want to do this. My global manager is going to have a copy to the Google. Otherwise, I'd have to have it in my, I could grab an instance to it. Just one more second. Because this is ultimately going to now be in a coroutine until it's finished with that event. So what we want to do is have a new, do you have a variable in here for is new map? Let me drop down into one level here. So in my scriptable objects, I should have a, yeah, I'm almost done with the demo, farthest I've gone so far. That's good though. That's a start. So in here, when my moving object, which is a base object, gets a map event, here, move coroutine, move to position. You check for the survivors, you do all your movement, you check and spread fire, you move them. Check for burning collisions. It's not walking, we do a knockback. Check for door tile. So here, you're getting your map tile conflicts. And if there's one which is of type map door tile, then we want to get the first one and fire the map event. And then it's going to be called was map changed. So do you have a variable for that called well, this doesn't say if it went forward or not. So when we fire this event, that's going to catch in my base map. Which I'll move this up into base objects. And in this, I should have a function for get need noise heat, no, get the number of blocking objects, get number of survivors, validate potential, get validated positions, on player movement, on map player event. So has been exited is a property in a map. I think we can simplify this like that now because I upped the .NET framework. So I should have a has been exited. So down here we need to have a new variable called public bool has been exited. And we'll do a get and return has been exited. Okay. Now that we've got that, back in my game manager, if I look at my awake or my start, we're grabbing these things from my global manager. So in my global manager, I'm going to have my Google Manager script and then my static version of it. So in here, I'm going to add in a protected Google Manager script called Google Manager script. And I'm going to assign it right here to be Google Manager script is equal to my global manager.Google Manager script. Okay. So now, when we do a check to see if there needs to be an ad. So if my player dot, and is it called player data? Don't you have player data somewhere on here? Player has a number of abilities and you pass in a that's got to be in your HTTP manager. Is it another static? We're going to look for player data in my project. Here it is. So it's called player data in title manager. Okay, so it's only there. So data access layer, load player data. Your player data gets assigned in your, we have that coroutine, which is, it runs here, and then your HTTP manager, I think, fires it out. That would be in title manager. So that's storing your token, but that's not your player data. So up here we have get player coroutine, which fires an event. It doesn't store it. But you're putting it on your global manager as a static. That's what I wanted to see. So back here in game manager, I want to have a new protected, now we'll just use it directly. And I'm going to say here, if my global manager dot player data dot has purchased game, if they have not, now I want to see, check to see if it is a new map in a new level that is not level 1. So we want to do a if my arguments of my previous map dot has been exited. Let me not do it that way. Instead, what I want to do is add a protected bool has ad been played. And what I want to do is have a function now called I'll put it right here. Public virtual void set ad has played. And do we want to do a okay. Okay, and then what I want to do is just do my has ad been played equals has ad been played, and then we want to add that as my bool down here. Okay, so now if my previous map dot map index, no, we want to go look at my new map. So we're going to move this here, and I'm going to say that after you get your map, this is doing your time incentive events. So we'll do this right here. So if my next map map current dot map index is equal to, does it start at 0 or 1? It's got to start at 0. And it worlds.mapCurrent.has ad been played. Then what I want to do is set that. That's weird. Here, we'll just do a worlds.mapCurrent.has ad been played. Set has ad been played to true. And then we want to do a UI.pause timer script dot, oh, you had a stop timer. And then you wanted to do a Google manager script dot load interstitial ad. And we also want to say and my worlds.mapCurrent.world.world index does not equal to zero, and your worlds.mapCurrent.world.world index does not equal to 1. And then we'll play the ad. And then we want to have a bool, which is a protected bool is waiting for ad. And we're going to say is waiting for ad is true. And then here I want to do a return. We'll also add this in here, check TV sound. What's going on with my computer? It's so weird. What is happening here? Java from everything. I don't know. Wild. Okay. I gotta restart VS here. Okay, we'll go back into the Google Manager. Okay, and now what I want to do is look at this one more time here, which was in my game manager. And we want to say a stop TV noise. And we'll do that as a true. And now what I need to do is I need to have a callback after my ad completes. So when I look at this, I have my event here. Then I'm going to load the ad, and then when my ad loaded, I show it, and then I close it here. So I need an event. So we'll write an event for that. And what I'm going to say is let's do the event right now. So in my Google script, I want to have a new, and I think I have everything just built right into this. So I want to have a new event up here called a, just a second, public delegate void. And I want to say that this is my ad event, which requires a type of T, which is an object sender, and my T of my args, where T is a type of. And under events, I'm going to add a new folder called ads. And I'm going to add one here, class called a add event args, which is going to be inheriting from base event args. And we want to have an enumerator in here called add type. And I want to say the first one is a banner and the second one is interstitial. And in this we want to have a add type called add type. And then I want to have another one called a add event type, which will be called opened and closed. Okay, so we're going to add that in here as a add event args. And then what I need to do is I need to have that as a protected, no, it's called a private event add event of type. Now, this is not a type. This is just vanilla, called add event. And then what I want to do is I need to have my public event add event called add event, and it's a add, and we're going to do my add event plus equals to the value, and then we'll do a remove for my add event minus equals the value. And then here, where we have on interstitial add loaded here, I want to do it as a add event dot invoke my sender and then my new add event args, which is a add event type is a opened, and my add type is a interstitial. We also want to add in here a public unknown called status, and we're going to say success or failure. Okay. Here we've got one called a opened failure. This one is a closed success. Okay. So now, back in my game manager, we can get rid of this is waiting for add. And then this I'm going to move just temporarily over to my notepad. And then up at my top here, I want to say my Google Manager script dot add event plus equals to on add event. As a protected virtual void. And then Now what I want to do is switch on my args.add type. And then I want to switch on my args.add event type. And then here I want to switch on my args.status. And now what I want to do is, if it's a success, then I want to do this. What is happening with my Visual Studio today? Okay. So we want to have the like that. So now if this is a type of map home, then we want to set my level indicator. That doesn't matter because it can't ever be home. And now this thing is saying that it needs a potential time incentive, which comes from this. So we want to pass in my map player event args when I do this. And then we want to say that this is here. On my map player event args add. And then we want to say, has ad been played? It's true. So here it's going to be add is equal to null. Okay? And then this one I want to set it as E. And so now in this one we can have my public map player event args add called map player event args add. And this is going to be your args dot that. Okay, so this one says that it doesn't have a received potential time incentive. So if I look at where that got calculated, here, That was weird. Hold on. Like that. And I think that that'll do it. Okay, I'm going to rebuild it. And I need to load an emulator. We'll use this Pixel 2 with 4 gigs of RAM memory. With any luck, this should remember me in Play Store. All right. So it's saying that it can't get the ADB connection. That's a problem. So let me close this up. And what we want to look at here is my Unity ADB. And we want to say debug. And this is the one I wanted to look at here. Because the commands that he uses are ADB disconnect. Okay, so that's fine there. So let me go into my command line and we'll go to ADB. So that's a Java version, which is in my CD program files, CD Java, CD JDK 1.8.211, and it's in the bin. And I want to do a ADB devices. Okay, if I look at my dir again, it's called, no, I'm in the wrong folder. It's in my CD users, CD live or dev trying.phs, cd.app data, CD local, and then I thought it was in here. Let me look up where it is. We want to look up default SDK location, Android Studio. App data local Android SDK. So it's CD Android CD SDK. And then if I look in here, I should see ADB inside of platform tools. There it is, ADB devices. And there it is. It's got one disconnected here. So I want to do ADB disconnect. And we'll do ADB devices again. Looks good. And now what I should be able to do is start up that emulator. Okay, give it a second here to connect to ADB. Guest isn't online, retrying ADB connection. All right, let's go ahead and kill it again. And I think I can do a factory reset on it. And if that doesn't work, we'll rebuild it. It only takes a minute. Give it just a second here. Hey there, Kid Cool. I've been great. How are you doing? It's good to see you again. I'm taking There Is No Turning Back and putting it up on mobile. How goes it for you today? Maybe to have the release done by Tuesday. I'm gonna have to do my login again to Play Store. But it might just be worth it to spin up another one here. And I'll do this off of the Pixel 2. We can do that one. And then we'll put it as the 2 like that. That's fine. This is working now, so we'll just discard that. Let's go to Play Store. Been working like crazy. That's great, man. Relaxing and getting nothing done today. That sounds nice. Especially after some crazy time. Okay, so now here I want to add in my credentials. Just a minute while I put my password in here. Okay, back with you. This looks good. Agree to the terms. Now I think it's going to yell at me and tell me I need to update Play services. So we'll look for There Is No Turning Back just for fun real quick. See, and it doesn't have it yet because I don't have it deployed. So now what we can do is give this thing a run and do a build settings. And we can push this out to my emulator. Do a build and run. Okay, I need to sign my packages here, so just a second while I do that. Moment. Okay, back with you. Hey, Bubby Bite. Things are great. How are you doing? I'm pushing There Is No Turning Back onto mobile. How are you doing today? Making it free to play, adding advertising, and a payment model. Life is great, man. How are you doing? What was that? I don't know what that was. I'm good. Just got a new customer today in my company. A new customer today in my company, so that's good. Also bought a new cheap phone, the cheapest one I ever bought. That's cool. Android? I'm sure it's an Android. They're not bad. That's what I got. Why'd you buy such a cheap one? I've never even heard of that brand. We gotta wait for this thing to finish so we can test the interstitial ads. I don't want to spend money on a phone. I only use it for messages and calling, so I don't need something fancy. Are you a programmer, Bubby Boy? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure you are. Come on, sign my package. Almost done. Yeah. I found that I don't use my phone very much. I bought a note just recently. I spent a bit on it. And I really find that what I do is I bought a tiny little keyboard that folds up. It's the same size as the note. So I can just take my note with me and my little keyboard. And it's pretty much a laptop. And I can just remote into my home computer and work away. That's been a pretty cool little thing. I could go get the keyboard and show you. Signing the app now. Yeah. It was like 45 bucks for the keyboard. I didn't know if it was going to actually work out really well, and I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, it's copying over to the emulator now. Now, I don't have my device information on this thing. It says that I don't need it when it's an emulator, so we'll have to see. Okay. There it is. So it's this phone that's making the sounds. We're going to auth in now. It's probably going to fail on the auth. Give it just a second here. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It should fail on the auth because I'm not on my test. Oh no. Yeah, let's install the latest games. If I look at my branch, I'm on the development branch, so it should fail. No, I'm on the Google branch, so it should be fine. The Google branch should be hitting the test servers now, right? Where is it? It's just hitting authorization URL. and it doesn't look like I'm using the test. Let me look at my globals real quick for this thing. This thing needs to finish. So we're going to add in one more here called authorization server URL development and one called test. Okay. And then we want to have another one here for development because after it goes through the test, then it gets split to the individual types. So this is right. It needs to be development and then and test. Which is this one. And then we need to have the web app URL, which is the development, and then the one for test, which is like that. And now what I want to do is, this is all done, and what I want to do now is look at my backend. And what I want to do now is look at my web API here at 58228, and then my web app is at 63889. When I look at all the places that this is in use, it says there's no references at the moment. Everything says that it's at development and not at test. That can't be right. So this is, now I can show this again. Oh, that's awesome, man. Congrats on the driver's license. Okay. And now what I want to do is, I'm currently doing all of my testing in test, not development, right? So we're going to change this to be test, because I'm testing on the Android device, which needs to auth up. Okay. which means that down here on my auth, this is in test, right? Like that. Now I can show this again. Oh, that's awesome. That's right around the corner. That was a really exciting time for me. So now everything should be running to my test server, which is being hosted on IIS. Oh, I could host it just right off of this computer's IP on IIS Express, but maybe that's for another day. So we don't need to run anything here. And I should just be able to give the app a test. Okay, it authed me in. Sort of. Let me try that again. This thing says that this needs to be test. It's going to auth me in. This is slow because it's running off of my computer behind me through www. It's not a server, but it acts like one. So the auth is working. I don't see ads on this. So that's concerning. That means that my device ID isn't working. So if I went to Google Play Services, Unity, get device ID. It's not here. Yeah, we're doing all this, doing this. It's not useful at all. I want to look for my in the code base. When I'm starting my Google Manager, can you do a play games platform? I'm just trying to remember what this is. Instance dot how do I do it? We did that. I need to get my get device ID, and we want to do that for a Android test. So we'll say Google Play Services get test device ID. Here we go. Just use the Admob method and set it to test emulator. So in here, where we're starting my Admob here, I want to do test emulator. And then also in my interstitial ads. Okay. And we'll give it another run. Let me kill it. And if this thing throws up on me, then we won't use the emulator. I'll just go to my phone. Okay, that's not looking great. So let me just use my phone because it's faster. Okay, this thing is dead in the water. My Android emulator. See a lot of instances of ADB open. But I do not see my emulator. There we go. Okay, it's called QEM. QEMU system. Here it is. And we'll kill it. There we go. Okay. Close that. So now we're just going to do this on my device, and then we can try it on the emulator again in a minute. Sorry, I forgot I need to set it to my default devices. Run it. And then we'll also spend this moment to add my Android emulator back. Doesn't look like that it ever stopped. Oh, yeah, there we go. We can restart it. Move it over here. Okay, so now that I'm in the phone again, we can also do this as another build here and run. And I think I can uninstall this. Almost done here. Gotta love the build times right now. Just another minute. Okay, we're testing on this phone, but we'll also push it out to the emulator as well. Almost done. Build times seem nice. Yeah, it's because I have to test it on the actual Android device for some of this stuff. So my auth is working now. So I have to test the ads and the interstitial ads. And then we'll have to test our reward ads and purchase system as well. But we're going to have to code in the purchase system, which we'll do after the break that's coming up. Okay, I'm playing it on my phone here. During this time, we can go ahead and say that we want to push this out to my other device, and we'll build and run it here. Okay, so I'm getting the ads. I authed in correctly. Select the character. Okay. Definitely for the top and the bottom chairs, it seems as though that doesn't work well. Let me just go back here now. Testing the ads, I need to get a few levels in. So it should pop up an ad for me. Ooh, interesting. My top panel image is getting stretched. Okay. And now when I go to the next one, I was expecting it to load an interstitial ad and it didn't there. So let's get to the next level and see if it does it then. I'm almost there. Okay, when I get through this, it should be good. It's very stretched out on both of them, on the top and the bottom. It doesn't look right for the images. The chests work. Okay, so it didn't work. So let's go back and check to see what's going on here. When we're calling this, it's only going to be at these times where your map index is equal to 0. But you also want to do a player.set can move. We should have like a something which is like a they're like a status. There's player state. And you're going to say cannot move. And then up here we're going to say player state can move. So you should have something here called set player state. Okay. And what I want to do here is do a debug.log of my map index, and we want to say that it's worlds.mapCurrent.mapIndex. This is working, which is good. And now we're getting my ads. Okay, so it's not defaulting with dialog on. That's a problem. So let's go ahead and quit this. And now what we can do is we're just going to debug it and see what's going on here. So we'll give it a run. Okay, let's go ahead and set our aspect ratio. map index 0. So we'll attach here. So this is why. And then also we want to only do this in your level index is equal to 0. And that should work. So we'll give it a run. And I'm going to push it out to the emulator. Give it just a second here. Everything looks good. Go ahead and do a build and run. Oops, but it's going to do it to the phone, so I need to disconnect the phone real quick. Let me do a cancel on it. We'll come in here and do it one more time with a build in settings, and we'll push it out to the emulator and do a build and run. Okay, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in 13 minutes. If you have any questions, this is a good time to put it in the chat. Also, you can check us out at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. When we're back, our ads should be completed, and then we're going to start to build out our purchasable items. We have scriptable objects that we're going to create in the game for them, and then we have WebAPI calls that we need to write for receiving them and unlocking them, and then we need to actually create the entities and everything inside of ASP.NET Core. So thanks for staying with me. I'll see you guys in just 13 minutes.